What's going on, degenerates? Hey, I got an amazing interview for you guys today. It's being brought to you exclusively by those at nippertown.com. That's us at nippertown.com. And also, of course, at that Fuzzing Rock Show. We are honored to have on our little broadcast today Chris and Eddie from the band Powerhouse. Gentlemen, thank you guys so much for stopping by. Great to see you guys. Welcome to the show.
What's up? How you doing, Will?
Dude, I'm doing all right, man. I'm getting excited for the show. You guys are going to be at Empire Live June 8th, and there's a hell of a lineup for that. We'll get into that in a little while, though. So we're going to talk about you guys first, though, because, well, that's why you're here ultimately. But so you guys got your start in like 93, I think, right?
A little earlier than that, but
a little earlier than that?
It was before Chris. It was like late 91, early 92.
Okay, all right.
It was a different singer, different guitarist, different drummer. So, and then Chris joined in 93, late 92, I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was. I think there was some. Yeah, it was, but 93 kind of seemed to be when things really solidified.
Yeah, that's when we actually started recording and playing shows and stuff like that. So
now from that time to now, in your guys' opinion, how has the scene changed, or has it changed?
Yes. This is definitely man. There were crickets when we were playing back in the day. There was like, there was not a hardcore scene to be had in the Bay Area at the time. And nowadays, it's exploding with talented bands. I mean, there are so many good bands around here right now. And the South Bay, which is part of the Bay Area here, you talk about San Jose and the Santa Cruz area and all that. It's just making so much noise with some really, really great band. I mean, you're talking about Drain and Gulch and Tsunami and Scow. And we got Urban Sprawl from up this way. And I mean, these streets and Cutthroats. And I mean, there's a list of bands, man. It's crazy. There's like so many bands doing so many things. And particularly in the South Bay right now, it's bumping, but we didn't have that. That was definitely, we were playing metal shows. We were playing, we were jumping on punk shows. We were jumping on metal shows. Like anything where we could get a show at the time is what we did. Ernie we would play all these like crusty, like punk houses in North Oakland and wherever else. And I mean, they're pretty disgusting, like shows, man. But like, it was a show at the time. We took what we could get.
Right. I mean, but the best part about back then was it was like you could do that. You could kind of blend the genres together where you could be on a metal show or, a punk and hardcore show or a punk and metal show or metal and hardcore. So like you could kind of intermix the three of them and it was cool. Everybody's kind of cool, but you can't mix like a like a country show with a hardcore show. You know what I mean? You can't mix those genres, which is good. So it was good that you guys actually got to get in on some of those shows. But yeah, the scene in upstate New York here is stronger than ever was. Metal and hardcore both, which is awesome. And the punk's making a pretty big comeback too, which is great.
It takes everybody, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the wealth of talent in this area, I'm sure you guys got it there too, but the wealth of talent is unbelievable. Like it's just that we have so many artists that's what Nippertown and my show focuses on, is trying to kind of get local talent's name out there.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of work with national bands too, but not as much as the locals. Trying to kind of elevate them and get their names out there. And it's just like I'm so busy I can't get to everybody. I want to, but I can't, but it's so you guys will be here, like I said, June 8th in Albany at Empire Live. Are you guys currently touring now, or is this just kind of a one-off show?
Not a one-off. We have 3 shows that weekend, but we're basically just coming out. We built a couple of the shows around This Is Hardcore, so we'll be playing This Is Hardcore on Saturday the 9th. So
okay, all right.
We'll be doing upstate with Mike and Brick by Brick, and I'm looking forward to that show. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to the Friday the 8th, and then we'll be in Philly on the 9th, and then we go up to Boston, and we'll be playing over at the Zuzu, which is part of the Middle East. And that'll be on that Sunday. But it'll just be those 3 shows. We're we're all responsible. We're grown up now. We got to like, go to work and shit like that.
Day jobs suck. Adulting sucks. Right?
Yeah, it does.
Being responsible sucks, dude, for sure.
So now, speaking of touring, do you guys have any tour stories that stand out in your mind, good or bad? That if somebody came to you like me and asked you, like, "Hey, what's one of your most memorable tour stories?" Can you pull one out just like that and say, "Yeah, it was definitely this," or?
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a ton, man. For me, one of them is, Hatebreed had rented an RV in the West Coast, and they were traveling all around the states, but they ended up being in the East Coast. So they called up Chris. I think, hey man, can you guys do us a favor? Pick up the RV and take it back with you guys. We'll hook you guys up with shows and stuff like that. And this was 97, 98, Chris.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And so, I think we flew out there. We took the RV with them, and then they booked a couple of shows with us in Connecticut. I think we did like New York, Coney Island High, and pretty much drove it all the way back across the country for them. And they repaid us by, hey, we'll get you some shows, you get some money, and at least for gas and stuff. So it was pretty fun. We ended up hanging out with them a little bit and got to see like Warren and Royce up there, and played with Sick of It All. It was awesome. Maximum Penalty. That was one of my favorite memories, driving back in an RV and just enjoying the travel.
What about you, Chris?
I would say we were out with Agnostic Front in Europe, and they decided, these guys, you put Stigma and the rest of Powerhouse together, and it's going to be a wild night. And so these guys are on the. So this is the thing: when you go with Agnostic Front to Europe, they're like kings, and these guys had literally. So this is they were just coming back on Something Gotta Give, and it was Kabula, and it was Stigma, and it was Roger, and then they had Willie Shepler. It was supposed to be Jimmy Coletti, but Jimmy Coletti wasn't able to go. He got shot actually, and he survived, thank God. But yeah, right before the tour, so Will Shepler jumped on, which was dope because we love Willie. We'd already been out with him with Madball and stuff, and
sure.
And so it was great, and we were out, and so Agnostic Front's like kings in Europe. Like, I mean, they're just, and everybody, you go out there, everybody's really proud of their regional beer and shit. And so they all would, not only would there be piles of beer in the backstage all day long, they'd be coming out with hand trucks at the end of the night and like pushing it onto the bus. And Roger and the tour manager at the time, Marcus, would be saying, no, like trying to push it back. And these guys were just like so adamant that they needed Agnostic Front to take the beer. And so all this beer would end up, after these guys were drinking all day, all the beer ends up on a hand truck full of beer ends up on the bus. Along with, nobody had regular bottled water. They always had like this gas water, they call it. It has like bubbles in it and shit. And it sucked. No one wanted to drink it, but you always ended up with tons of that too.
Right.
And so we got all this shit on the bus, and these guys started raging. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to bed. Like, I got to rest my voice. I got to, I'm just going to, I don't drink. I like to watch these guys go wild and shit sometimes, but there's really times like, yeah, I was like, I've seen this before. I know how this ends. I'm going to bed. And anyway, we wake up the next day, and I find out that, like, so not only Roger's bummed, like the bus is wrecked. There's broken glass everywhere. There's food smashed into everything. I find out that Willie, he got so hammered. We had this bus driver named Knuckles, and we called him Knuckles because he had a bunch of his fingers that got cut off. They were like missing. So, he just had these little stubs and shit. And Willie had gone up to the front of the bus, and he's telling Knuckles, pull over, Knuckles, pull over. And Knuckles is just like, he speaks German. He doesn't speak English. He's just kind of shaking his head at him or whatever.
Right.
Actually, excuse me, I got to back up here. So these guys are raging. Willie had gone toward the front of the bus. These guys started throwing the bottles of the gas water, and they hit Willie in the nuts. And Willie hit the ground and was laying in the aisle of the bus for a pretty long time.
Right.
And then Willie decided to get back up a little while later when he came to. And tells Knuckles, hey, pull over. Knuckles doesn't pull over. Willie throws up all over the front of the bus.
Oh,
So now there's
Jesus.
puke at the front of the bus. There's food that broke. Turns out Stigma was having these guys break bottles over his head, fucking while they're drinking the shit in the back of the stage. He said, "Yeah, hey, come here, kid. Break this bottle over my head." And don't ask me,
Okay.
don't tempt, particularly Ernie, don't tempt him with some shit like that because he was all about it. So like, bink, bink, and they're smashing bottles over Stigma's head and shit, and they're all just like thinking it's the greatest shit ever. And that was one of those. That tour was kind of epic. There's people getting knocked out and shit getting broken and fucking buses being wrecked. And but it was a good time, man. It was definitely a good time.
Now I know you said that they're like kings over there.
Yeah.
Meaning over in Europe and all that.
Yeah.
And that leads me to my next question. Do you notice a difference between US audiences and European audiences? Or let's say international audiences?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Europe really seems to truly appreciate live music still. I mean, I kind of feel like maybe live music is taking a shift again here too, but it seemed like there's quite a run where the DJ ruled supreme in the States. Everybody wanted DJ shit, and it's got its place too. But like, it's kind of cool when you get to see a live, see a band get up there and do their thing. But like Europe never lost that. Like they definitely, they embrace it big time. And when you go, you're treated like a human being when you go to Europe. Like the venue has like a kitchen and they serve you food and there'll be, showers and, they're set up in a way where it's just kind of like you can feel civil and like a human, not just
right.
Like, oh yeah, go play this show and then beat it and, figure out where you're going to sleep and, sorry, your stomach's empty and all that shit. I like to see that change a little bit here, but, Europe seems to have a better way when it comes to that kind of stuff,
Yeah, you get that whole, by the way, the door wasn't that good, so you don't get your 500, you get 300,
Yeah.
That bullshit, yeah. No.
Yeah.
That happens a lot. So now let's say worldwide, I know you guys have been all over the place. Do you guys have a favorite venue to play? Do you guys have that one venue that you're just like, this is the spot for us?
I like SO36 in Berlin. They always, hey, come on down, come hang out. Let's barbecue. Let's any requests on food wise and beer, and we're like, oh, tons of beer. We didn't really care, but SO36 has a great vibe, and it's in the middle of the city of Berlin, so it gets packed, and everybody appreciates the opening band to the headliner. Of course, a different vibe with the headliners, but they appreciate all the opening bands, the middle bands, and they support too. They buy your merch, they'll buy your gear, which is amazing. It's amazing.
Oh, that's great. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, well, so my favorite place is a place that I've been booking shows at since 2007 called the Parkside, and we just played for the first time in November there. But I've been doing shows there forever, and I put so many bands in that room, and it's got a good family vibe. It's like it's a dive bar, and they're proud of it being a dive bar and whatever. But it's got a little stage and it's a small room, so it packs in, but it screams. The sound is insanely good, and it's got like a beer garden areas, and they serve food, and it's a full bar, and it's all aged, and it hits all the marks, man. And I've packed so many people into that room, and I've done Cro-Mags there and Madball there multiple times, and Cruel Hand and Terror and Sheer Terror and H2O and Murphy's Law, and I mean the list goes. I put so many bands in that room, and every single time it's just a killer show, man. The vibe is just great, and then so for me, hands down, that's my favorite spot to do a show, play a show, anything. It's just like
It's the place to be, right?
Yeah.
So now, were you? I don't know if I read this wrong or if I don't know if were you guys instrumental in opening up a spot in Oakland in your area called the Bomb Shelter? Was that you guys? That's
yeah. Ernie found a dude willing enough to sign a lease, and what was that kid's name? Brett, Eddie? Was it Brett?
Yeah, Brett. Yeah.
Brett. He was kind of like, he was a nice enough guy, but he didn't really understand what he was getting himself into. And Ernie convinced him to sign this lease. and be kind of the guy, the fall guy, if things work to go well. And we built a stage and kind of like a shell, and it was like it had been an auto body shop, and
All right.
we turned it into this venue, and it made it, less than a year, but in the course of that year, it had some pretty sick shows, man. We, VOD and Agnostic Front and AFI and Redemption 87 and who else we put in there? Was Hatebreed in there? Did Hatebreed play there? Murphy's Law played there. We did Crucial Barbecue with them outside, which was dope.
And Call for Alarm.
Lawn, Brothers Keeper. I mean, we had that. It was like a pretty epic run, at the time. There's a lot, we ended up getting 300-400 kids on a 3-day notice on a VOD show just because VOD wanted to fill a day. They had a day off, and he put a show together for us, and and screamed. It was a cool spot, man. It was a cool spot. It was fun.
Yeah,
but it was deep in the hood, bro. It was deep in the hood. So when you tell kids, it's like, hey, park here, hang here. Do not go up that street that way. Do not go over that way. And when you leave, just go back the way you came in, because you're Oakland gets live, man. Oakland's still a rough town, especially when you get east side like that, where the venue was.
Yeah.
You gotta,
Yeah, one wrong turn.
Yeah.
It's almost like one of those. It's almost like one of those things where if you cross this, you're good up until this street, and then if you cross this street, you're fucked. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can be. It definitely can be.
So let's talk about you guys' music. You guys have I've been looking at the releases you guys have out. Started off with I'm going to call it the white cover. When I think it was the EP in '94.
Right.
No Regrets, What Lies Ahead, Pandemonium. Now, Renegades. Is that your newest? That's your newest stuff that's coming out, right?
Yeah, that's dropping on the 17th.
Yeah, 17th of
June.
17th of this month, right?
Yeah, Friday. Yep.
Yeah, next Friday.
Oh, let's talk about that a little bit.
Friday. We got about 3 days.
Yeah.
This is a new full length album.
No,
six song EP.
6-song EP. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I suppose for what it is, people would say, "Oh, 6 songs," but it's actually it's like 16 or 17 minutes. They're full songs. It's not, but as I was kind of watching the trends of things, a lot of people, it seems like releases have shortened, and it seems like it's almost kind of what people have an attention span for anymore. The way life has shifted, and it just seems like, and it seemed like it was appropriate amount. It seemed like let's get 6. Well, we feel good bangers. Let's get 6 bangers on there.
Yeah.
And just come out with some really strong shit, and hopefully gets well received.
Yeah, when I first started doing this whole interview thing and doing the show and stuff like that, I was doing a lot of research, and you have to look at like this will probably be a 40-minute interview, 30 to 40 somewhere in there. I usually do a hour long show, or weekly hour-long show, and I'm doing research, and the average attention span for somebody watching a video, music or otherwise, is 18 seconds.
Wow.
Like, how the hell can you get anything out of, I can remember, hit and play and then having to flip the tape over, but listen to the whole goddamn thing. You know what I mean? 18 seconds. Like, what do you get out of music in that?
Yeah.
Well, I guess that kind of comes with the luxury of kind of having so many things at your fingertips when it comes to the internet, and that you can just kind of pull shit up as you want it. Whereas, back in the day, you had to go out and track something down and purchase the entire thing, not really knowing if you even liked it or not, and then taking the gamble, and then you'd have to sit there and really listen to it and decide if you spent your money well or not.
Rewind, play. Nope, not yet. Rewind, play. Nope, not yet. Okay, there's the beginning. Or no, there's the ending of the last song.
Yeah, exactly. So
the people I feel bad for is the ones that had 8 tracks, man. Because they had to click, and then wait for the other song, and then click 4 more times. Like that was like rocket science figuring them goddamn things out.
Yeah, I never could figure those things out.
So how long did the new album take to write? Was it a fairly quick process? Did you guys?
No.
Well, there was a pandemic in the middle of that.
Yeah, fuck
you know, we was it 2018? We started getting together, and you know, first we were working on the old stuff just to tighten stuff up and catch up, and then from that point on, I was like, hey, let's get some ideas on the table and write a song. And you know, I came up with It's Been a Minute, and I presented it to the guys, and I was like, you know, we worked on it for a week or two, then a month, and then all of a sudden the pandemic came through, and nobody was rehearsing, nobody was doing anything. So we put all that on the back burner for a year and a half or two, and then the drummer that we had, Max, was was helping us write that song, and then it didn't work out. So you know, Walter was like, "Well, I'm going to move back to California." So he did like a year ago, and you know, we worked.
Oh,
Chris
yeah.
and Walter were roommates. Chris and Walter were roommates for a minute, and then they wrote a bunch of stuff, and they presented it at practice. We practiced once or twice a week, try to get the stuff, you know, the structure down to what felt the best. And I feel like, you know, the first song, probably a couple weeks when we had it down, and then the 5 songs that Chris and Walter wrote and presented, that took a little longer because there was more songs. But I think like within 6 months, we had the basic structure down, and then worked on the progress of you know, putting it down to record. And then after we like a year ago, we recorded it, and then the memory got wiped out on the computer. The hard drive just crashed, so we had to go in there and redo it again. This time we did a couple of tweaks here and there just to, you know, whatever, make it even better. And within like a couple of weeks, I think we were done. We were done recording that. I mean, it's 6 songs, but you know, we wanted to sound as best as we could for us and for everybody else.
Now, do you guys have your own spot to record, or do you guys go to a studio and do that, or how's that work?
We've recorded with Michael Rosen a bunch of times now, and Michael Rosen's his resume is pretty legit. Sure. He's worked on some pretty amazing stuff, and he's a friend. Like he's a friend of ours, and as he was opening up his new studio, I did some work for him, so we had some credit as well, so it made sense. And his studio is West Oakland, where we rehearse is West Oakland. I mean, we're literally like a quarter mile away. You know, you can see one building to the other, really. And so it was easy. It was easy. But yeah, I mean, recording with Michael was great. Michael has the ability to get some really like guitar tones, particularly. He kills it with guitar tones. He gets really great guitar tones. But he's got a cool room, man. And so we went back. Seemed like it made sense, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the new one's coming out 6/17.
Yep.
Where can people find that? Is there going to be on a website? Obviously, you guys probably stream to all the popular platforms and stuff. Is there?
Yeah, it's going to be on all the streaming platforms. We're going to put it up on Bandcamp, and some tracks will be on YouTube also. But yeah, pretty much. You know,
and then you can purchase through Pitchfork, and you can purchase through Upstate Records as well. They both got it. If you're in Europe, Cortex will be carrying it. I know Revelation has some. You know, if you're looking for the vinyl, if you're looking for actual physical copy, that's we have. But yeah, all the streaming platforms and the Bandcamp will have it too, for sure.
Yeah, I'll definitely give a shout out to Upstate, Mario and Kim. They're 2 amazing people.
Yeah, they've
been super helpful, man. I mean, they've been and just super gracious with their time, just lending it to us the way they did. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So now you guys, the lineup you guys have now, of course, with the exception of Ernie, who unfortunately is no longer with us. Rest in peace to him. And from what I've been reading about, just stuff online, I've been reading about him. He's pretty well revered guy. I mean, I was hearing people call him like the Godfather of Bay Area hardcore, stuff like that. Like that's pretty awesome. Now, who took over for the bass for him? Is that the same person still, or?
Yeah, we got Casey Watson. So you would know him from he did quite a few different hardcore bands. One being Look Back and Laugh.
Yep.
In the Bay Area. He also played in the Old Firm Casuals.
Yeah.
Oi band, and then he played when Craig was out with Sick of It All, he would play for Chromax.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also played, he's been in a ton of other bands, but he's the man with the skills, but he also has a presence on stage, which was required because Ernie was a big personality for sure. People loved him, people feared him. There's a lot of different things about Ernie, but he was very charismatic for sure. And there needed to be a presence on stage. We had to make sure that that felt familiar.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Casey does a great job with that.
So now we got you guys here locally, June 8th. That's at Empire Live in Albany for the Brick by Brick tour kickoff.
July 8th.
July 8th. I'm sorry. I did write June. I'm an idiot. Sorry about that. July 8th. Lineup includes some killer talents. It's going to be a hell of a show. Breathless at Dawn, Oakheart, Concrete, Violent by Design, Cutthroat, of course, Powerhouse, and then Brick by Brick. Here's an interesting question, and I don't know if you guys can answer it quite accurately or not, but how did you guys first get in with the Brick by Brick guys, and what was that experience like?
Well, me and Mike are brothers, so I've known him, and I see him at the Black and Blue Bowl just about every year. I talk to him on the phone quite a bit, and he's just a super solid dude. I'm psyched to know him. He's a good guy, and I know Eddie's made it to he made it in January. He flew out to see the shows and stuff, so he met Valente now too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a great guy, man. He puts in he makes himself available for so much shit for so many people. It's impressive. It's really cool the things that he does. So yeah, but I know I've known him and Traj and all these guys for years. Riley, Bob Riley.
Yeah. Just talking to you in the first 3 minutes, I think I was talking to you. You do pretty much what he does out there, from what I understand.
Yeah.
And I mean, my hat's off to both you guys, because these scenes wouldn't survive without guys like you, which is awesome. And I mean, the bands, and I'm not even going to say the bands owe you guys, because you guys don't want anything in return. You just want a solid scene. And I think that's freaking admirable. So my hat's off to both you and Mike and every other guy that's out there doing it. To the scenes in, Duluth, Minnesota, or where the hell Duluth is, or, somewhere in the middle of Iowa where, shit like that. But I mean, that's every scene needs guys like you and Mike. I mean, Mike I can't even explain what he does up here for all the bands. And it's not just for hardcore bands. It's metal bands. It's the punk bands. It's the regular rock bands. Like, I don't know how he does it half the time.
As a band, you like, it's comforting to know that there's a person that has got your back when you're touring. Like, you feel like you're going into a good situation, that these people have your best interest at heart. And so for me, having done bands and toured and all that stuff, like, it's important to me that I can extend what I feel is the best goodwill that I can when bands come through, because at that point, I mean, you're just out there, man. A hardcore band. I mean, there's been shows where we've shown up and it's a bust, and the guarantee doesn't show up, or this or that. Next thing you know, you're walking out with PAs and shit that you don't really need, but it's the only way that you're going to get paid in the end, and shit like that. But it's. I know a lot of times, when bands would find out, say I was booking, and I did it because I wasn't doing Powerhouse anymore. When Ernie passed away and we weren't playing music, doing the shows was my way to at least kind of stay connected and be involved still, and feel like I'm a contributor, because that's what I wanted to be. But I also knew at that point that when bands were coming through, a lot of times they did know me, and they could say, "Oh shit, yeah, no, this will be a good show. We're in good hands.
We're gonna be okay." Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that's a good thing, man. That's a good thing when you can do that when bands are out there,
So that being said, it would be extremely helpful to me, and this is kind of, I don't know you very well, but I'm going to ask you for a favor anyways. You guys have any good dirt on the Brick by Brick boys that we can kind of hold over their heads? Because that would be great for me. I mean, I love Mike to death, and I'm sure he'd probably be like, "No, tell him everything." But you guys got any good story, any good Brick by Brick stories?
When I was at the Hooligan Holiday, man, I was like, "Yo, Mike, I need some Jack Daniels and some killer beer." And next thing you know, it's $200 later. I was like, "Bro, you just took $200 from me, man." But I had whiskey and killer beer, but Murphy's Law killer beer and the Sheer Terror Jack Daniels. I was like, I was in heaven, even though it was like negative 20 degrees outside. That's what
whiskey kept you warm, right?
Yeah, bro. I mean,
hell yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, walking up to him, there's no dirt. I just walked up to him. And he's like, "Just tell me what you need. I'll get it for you." And he's like, "Oh, it's $200." I'm like, "Damn, all right, no worries."
That's all right. This is the dirt. He's a big teddy bear, that guy.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a teddy bear.
Yeah, don't tell everybody that.
The videos he posts like about his daughter that he's doing the random stuff. So such a teddy bear, bro.
The best one for me was the Tea Party post. He posted the picture of the Tea Party where it was.
Yeah.
But you know what, dude? It's. I mean, there's two sides to him. There's the Mike side, the genuine Mike side, where you're right. He's a teddy bear. He'll do anything for anybody, but don't get on his bad side.
No, that's
the side you don't want to see. I mean, that's unfortunately he has to have that side. But but for the most part, I mean,
and he's good at that too, bro.
Yeah,
really good at that too.
Oh, no doubt about that.
He's good at that too.
You're going to be arms around each other, drinking, or fighting like a motherfucker. Either way, you're gonna be talking to Mike one way or the other. Now,
for sure.
That's good, man. Yeah, I have a live interview with them at the Bull and Bee down here in Albany. It's a meadery, so that's going to be that'll be an interesting night for sure. Him and Ray bartends down there, so Ray will be behind the bar. Yeah, it's going to be a good night. So
it's going to be an ugly night.
But the better night is going to be July 8th. It's going to be at Empire Live. You guys can check out Powerhouse there. They are going to be here with all of the other bands we just talked about. We are at the end of our time, boys, and I definitely appreciate you being here. But I want everybody to make sure you guys check out the new album. Is it called? It's called Renegades, right? Is that the new album?
Yes.
Okay. New album is called Renegades. Again, it's going to be out on the 17th. You can find it on Bandcamp primarily, but you can check all your other streaming platforms. If you guys want to get in touch with the guys, it's first the Bandcamp is Powerhouse, obhc.bandcamp.com. Instagram is at Powerhouse OBHC. All of their other info you can find at linktr.ee/Powerhouse OBHC. Boys, do you have anything else you guys want to talk to the folks about while we still got you here?
I'm excited for Albany because we missed the opportunity in January, so we feel like making that up to people that are going to be there, and hopefully they catch us, and it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah. Shout out to the big teddy bear Valente for setting us up, getting us on the show. We appreciate it. That bill was already in place when I contacted him, and he was willing to put us on. So that was really huge of him to do that. And we really appreciate it. But yes, we're looking forward to getting up to Albany, make up the show that we weren't able to do in January. So we're excited about it. And thanks so much for your time here, Fuzz. This has been great.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, bro, dude, it's my pleasure. Believe me, I would sit here and talk to you guys for hours if I could, but I'm not that important. So I'm not going to go there.
Oh, but you're doing important stuff, man.
You're on the same boat.
Important.
We look forward to seeing you guys. It is going to be, that show is going to be the stuff nightmares are made of. And I say that in the best way possible. It's going to be an unbelievable time.
Yeah.
I can't wait to meet you guys in person, shake your hands, and rock out with you guys. Chris, Eddie, thank you again for taking your time to hang with us. Definitely looking forward to seeing you guys in Albany on the 8th. And that's all I got for you. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Ladies and gentlemen, Powerhouse. Take care, boys.
Thanks, guys. Take care.